The Arch Publications Podcast.
This is the Arch Publications Podcast. And I just want to kind of explain where we are, because the sound is it's quite vast, I would describe the sound in here. And that's because we are in an absolutely beautiful building. We are in an old church. It's an old Methodist church. So I'm with Emma.
Emma Semper Hopkins.
And your business is?
Semper Hopkins Upholstery Interiors.
Tell me about this beautiful building that we're in.
So we're in the village of Scholar Green, which is just outside of Congleton. It's a primitive Methodist chapel, and it was built, I'm going to say 1892, but it might have been slightly earlier than that. And we've been in here open since 2018, but we started the renovations in 2016. So it was a bit of a restoration, which was carried out by my dad. And that's what we've got here now, a beautiful workshop, which we teach upholstery workshops from.
Was it empty for quite a while before you took it over?
It had been empty for a couple of years. So I think the last service was in 2014. It was still being used by the village, and then it had been set empty and went up for sale by auction by the parish council. It's just because it no longer had a big enough congregation.
Yeah.
I think was the main reason.
But what's great is the fact that you're using it and it's not been demolished or been, gone to rack and ruin, which I'm sure it wouldn't have done anyway. But is it a listed building?
No, it's not listed.
Wow, that surprises me though. You'd expect it to be listed with so much history.
I suppose, but a lot of the Methodist chapels aren't listed. It was like the one further up in the village of Moucop. That one was actually knocked down. So luckily we got hold of it and we've restored it.
Yeah, you've saved it, which is great. And with these beautiful stained glass windows, because the front of the building obviously has got two really large stained glass windows with a mix of purples and greens, and they look like they're in fantastic condition. Are they original then?
All the windows are original. We've done a synthetic restoration, so a lot of the original features are in here, and the memorial plaques and things like that we still have on display, and the clock. So yeah, most of the things that we could keep that were on the walls and things are still in the building.
So you mentioned you run your upholstery business from here. Was that always the plan when you bought the building?
Yes, it was. I mean, at the time, my business was very early on in its infancy, but it was just an ideal opportunity with living next door to it. So, it was.
So how did the business get started then? Because I know you've had a corporate career, haven't you, before this?
Yes, so I was still working at the time. I set up my business in 2016 when I was on maternity leave with my son Alfie. And at the time, it was just a part-time thing that I was doing in my spare time with being a new mum. And it started from a hobby, really. A few years before that, I'd started a night class because we needed furniture for our home that we'd restored. And it was just, I like to learn and keep busy. So it was one of those things that I thought I'll try my hand at it. And I got addicted. I just I love the creation, as in turning something from an old disused piece of furniture and transforming it into something new. And it's also really lovely to make new furniture as well. So that's evolved as I gain more skills.
So what was the first piece of furniture you ever made, and have you still got it?
It was a wingback chair.
That sounds pretty,
Yeah, it was a big project.
Yeah.
I don't do things by half. It just says, bring your own project. And I thought, I'll do a chair, not knowing anything about upholstery or the complexities. And if somebody asked me now, what should you do as a first project, it wouldn't be a wingback chair because it was quite a complicated piece of furniture. I don't still have it now. I have it in the chapel, as in it needs refurbing. It's just when I first did that chair, I did it in cream fabric, and I didn't know at the time that I was having a child.
Okay, but did it turn out okay?
Oh yeah, no, it was beautiful. I did it in a cream linen fabric with like leather football style buttons on.
Nice.
So it was very nice, but it didn't stand the test of time of milk and other things.
Yeah.
It just got a bit aged, shall we say, and when your family goes from 2 to 3, we couldn't fit the 3 of us on 2 wingback chairs, so what was in its place is now a sofa.
And did you do the sofa?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I have done 2 of the sofas in the house, but I didn't have time at the time to do the one for the kitchen.
Are the sofa's the biggest thing that you've done?
Yes, sofas, yeah. But it's not something I do all the time because I need to get an extra pair of hands to tackle a sofa. It's just because it's so big and heavy. So to try and do something like that by yourself all the time isn't manageable.
Cool.
But whilst I did all my training and stuff like that, I did sofas as projects.
So how did the idea of, because one of the things that you do in your business, you do a couple of things. You can do work for the people, so you can actually reupholster things for people, but you also do these fabulous training days, don't you? So I'm booked on to one next week, and as I mentioned to you when I booked on, I'm the most uncrafty person in the world. I really am. But you were like, no, don't worry, it'll be fine. And my mum is as well, so she's coming with me. We're very excited about it because we never do anything like this together, so it's quite nice. Where did that concept come from?
So a few years earlier, a lot of people have been asking me to teach workshops. Emma, when are you going to start teaching? And it was actually during lockdown when I had a bit of time to actually sit down and reflect and look at where I wanted to take my business. I started exploring upholstery workshops, and it was born from the infancy of the storage crate, which is a storage box with an upholstered lid. That was one of the products we used to actually sell and make for people. So I turned that into an upholstery course, and that was the first one we did. So it was really from a bit of an appetite from clients asking me to do it, and just sitting down and working out how to actually evolve it into the business in terms of breaking it down into a tutorial, lessons, obviously buying equipment, all those other things. I tested it out on a few willing friends and loyal customers, and they loved it. And so from there, the idea was born, and it evolved obviously by adapting a website, in terms of everything that has to then go with it. It was part of the business that I built. So
how long have you been doing it for now?
It'll be 2 years coming up to this Christmas.
So that's including obviously the COVID period. So were you remote for a while and then?
So at the beginning, I was planning to launch it just as we were going into the last lockdown, because at that time we'd been come out of lockdown, hadn't we? We were seeing people and going on holidays. I think it was the first, as we come out the first one. And so I planned to launch it in the January of 2020, not knowing that we were going into a full lockdown. So loads of people had booked on. They were just really understanding, and we just had to push back the initial bookings. So we just delayed the start of it. So we started in April of 2021. It was last year. So we'd done a little bit for the year before, and then we've had all of last year and all of this year running them now. Personally, myself, I love doing crafty experiences. So this year I've been on a fused glass workshop. I've tried pottery classes. I've done painting.
Are you so crafty?
I know, but I like doing those types of things. They're my hobbies. So I like that. That's why I love teaching, because I love sharing my skills, and I love seeing the happiness that it brings people, because it's just fulfilling, because as you're starting to build and see it come together, it's everybody's faces light up, and then when they finished it, they're just surprised that they've been able to make something like that.
I'm hoping that when I come next week, it will be life-changing for me, because I will realise, because it's one of those things where I've bought kits from places and they've just sat on shelves and got dusty, like crochet kits and things like that, but they're still there now. So I'm thinking maybe after I've done the course, I'll go home and be all inspired to kind of get the dusty crochet kits down and start doing stuff with them. Hopefully.
Or you'll find something that you love, because it's finding your thing. Some people like crochet. I enjoy art, so all the things I've explored, I like doing things that I can do in my home. It's just finding something that's right for you. And I think that's what I enjoy the most. It's people come for the experience, they get a piece of furniture at the end of it, and then they can actually find out whether it's something that they can do for themselves, because we teach it in a way that you can take it up at home. As in, we show you what tools you could buy, you get to use them, test them out, and then because most things you have to learn and be comfortable in your own skin doing it, and it's good coming to something face to face, because you can actually ask questions and get some practical skills, as well as feeling comfortable and confident. And then once you've had a go, you'll then feel more comfortable watching potentially a YouTube video or reading instructions from a book, because it'll make more sense rather than having to go at it blind. You'd be like, that doesn't make any sense, and then just put it down. Versus having to go somebody showing you, you're more likely to have another another go yourself at home.
Yeah.
Come back and do something else.
And one of the reasons why I wanted to bring my mum was because we see each other every day. I know she's my mum, but it's kind of, it's like, it's an opportunity for us to bond.
Yeah.
And I know you've mentioned to me before about businesses using it as team building and things like that. You're trying to introduce a bit of that into the business as well, aren't you?
Yeah, because it's a really nice thing for people to escape from work, especially if you're office-based and behind a screen a lot of the time. And people forget what it's like to just make something. It's quite mindful when you're lost in the experience of just actually making. You can switch off from day to day and just get immersed in the whole experience. It's like a lot of creative things. It gives you the same release, and it's just something that's lovely that you get that experience of being with your team, but getting some time for yourself as well.
Is it a man thing though? Do you get many men that do it?
Yes, we get both men and women that come to do it, because it is usually or predominantly a very male-orientated industry, upholstery.
Is it really?
It is.
Wow, didn't know that.
Well, it's very hands-on, it's very manual. I'm not saying it's all male, there are lots of females in the industry as well, but on bigger pieces of furniture, you are stood a lot of the day, because it's not a sit-down, you're not sewing a lot of the time, you are using physical tools, so you're using staple guns, you're using hammers.
Okay.
So I'm just meaning people just assume it's crafty, but it's not.
I get you.
It's open to both.
Yeah.
People.
So if people are wanting to do something that's slightly different, that you're not climbing through forests or, I don't know, trying to make boats and things like that.
Or escape rooms.
Yeah.
It's open to both men and women.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you do courses for younger people, for sort of teenagers?
No. Unfortunately, it's just I can't get insurance.
Okay.
It's very difficult when you're operating
a staple gun, which is like a weapon, basically. If I don't get it right next week, it's like...
So we can teach over 16s.
Okay.
Over 16s, it's a different story. It's just a minefield. It becomes...
And Christmas presents, are you doing vouchers this year?
Yes, it's very good for, well, just vouchers for Christmas or special birthdays, when we call them like gift experiences. So you can either buy something to the full value, or you can just buy something up to the value that you like, and it can be redeemed against a future workshop for people.
If someone wanted a footstool though, I mean, is it like 50-50 then? So you're doing stuff for other people and then you're doing the craft workshops?
Yeah, we do both. So I teach around 3 to 4 workshops a month, and then I do other work in between that in terms of customer work, and it just depends what we're doing, because we do our own ranges of handmade furniture, as well as reupholstering existing transformations like dining chairs and chairs.
Because I noticed in the church, all the walls have been stripped back. It's beautiful, and you've got the original brick, and there is, I'm just turning around, that's why I've gone all echoey, you've got lots of pieces made of wood, which I believe your dad does, doesn't he?
He does. He makes all of the he makes all the wooden frames for the workshops, and he makes all of the handmade wooden furniture for the business as well. But that's one of the reasons why we're doing more teaching, is so my dad can take a step back and we're trying to work out its retirement.
Right.
So we can spend less time in the business and spend more time out.
So what did he do? Was it that his career then?
No, so he has been in the building trade, and he's always been handy. He's done like house renovations. He can do anything, as in he can turn his hand to carpentry. He's obviously done all the restoration in here in terms of all the brickwork and things like that. So he's trained himself.
He's done a great job.
He is very good. Yeah, so...
And here's your dad. Just doing an interview. It's fine. I'll bleep you out.
I did check.
No, it's fine. So you came from a corporate background, and what was that job you were in?
So I used to work at the Co-op, food retail. Their head office is based in Manchester. So my background, after I left university, I basically went into food retail, trained up from a buying assistant through to a buyer, and then I moved to the Co-op. I've been there about 10 or 11 years before I left. Food buying, commercial trading manager, and then for the last 4 years there I was working in the own brand development team. So working and managing, part of that was managing the own brand developers, and then the last part of my job was managing the packaging side of things. So all the labels that you see, it was the team that did all the design and process, that type of stuff.
I love the fact that your dad's walking around. I think it's cool because ultimately this is like where you work. One of the things I want to do about these podcasts is, it's about getting out to meet people and seeing where they are and seeing where they work, and not necessarily being in a studio environment where it's all nice and soft and fluffy. It's like, the reason why we sound echoey is because we're in this really beautiful building, and that your dad works here and he's mooching around. It's great. I love it. So don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm gonna keep all that in, apart from when he nearly swore. So I suppose I just want to ask, really, because going from a secure job and setting up your own business, and particularly a business which is very much you mentioned it, you said it was a hobby that you wanted to make into a career, into your own business. I imagine there are lots of people potentially listening to this podcast who will want to do that. So is there any advice? It's a big question, but is there any advice that you can give anybody who's kind of got the same mindset or idea?
I'm going to be honest, it was a big leap, and it is scary. The main reason I did it was so I could have more flexibility around bringing up a young family, which it has brought. It's also brought lots of other challenges, which is like any business owner, you have to overcome. So it's not for the faint-hearted. I have been lucky that I had my business background from in my old job, so I had all that experience to bring with me, but it's very different working for yourself than it is working for somebody else. So it's surrounding yourself with people in terms of a support network. So I've got the support from my family, and also like growing a network locally, as in meeting with new business owners. At the very beginning, I joined up with a networking group that was specifically for mums. So it was, at the time, there was something around called Biz Mums. There are other networking groups like it, but I mainly joined that to make friends with other people that were in business, that were in a similar setting as myself, so they could understand what it was like being a mum, as well as like starting a new business.
Is Biz Mums still going?
No, it's not going anymore, but there are other mums in business, I think it's called MIBA, I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but if you Google, it's like mums in business networking groups. There's lots of things out there for when you've got a small child.
And you can take them to the meetings.
With you at the time, that was what I needed, because I used it to understand like how to find insurance companies, like accountants.
I got my accountants from Biz Mums. My accountant and my first accountant, she was amazing.
So it's all of those things, like knowing where to like find people that can help you, as well as asking questions and getting support. So I'd probably say that's the biggest thing, is finding friends that are in a similar situation, because you can bounce off ideas off of each other, because it can get quite lonely when you're by yourself. It's also having, like you say, your family around you, so you've got their support as well, because you can't go into it if you haven't got that relationship with both, because obviously I'm close to my parents and my husband as well, because you need to be able to communicate about finances and how business is going and just all of those life things as well. So there's lots of learning that's gone on personally over the last few years. But yeah, I wouldn't change it, but it's life changing in what it does to you as an individual as well.
Yeah, gives you the freedom and a lot of sort of responsibility, doesn't it?
It does. Freedom and responsibility, but it's allowed me to have the lifestyle that I want to.
Pick the kids up from school.
Yeah, being able to go to plays or do all the things that you want to be able to do.
I say to our 13-year-old boy, because he gets home from school, and we're there pretty much every day. It's actually quite rare for both parents, because we're working from home, to be there. And I sometimes think you must find that really annoying that you can't just go home and raid the sweet drawer, or because we're there going no. But yeah, I think when he's older, he'll probably be very grateful of it. I think
he probably doesn't know any different. Whereas in that year where I did go back to work when he was very young, I hated leaving home before I got to see him on the morning, or when I was rushing to pick him up from nursery. So it's just personal choices. Everybody's got choices to make, and it's what's right for them.
And you've done so well so far. What is the next step then? Obviously, we talked about doing more corporate days. So they're not called training days, are
like
they?
Team building days, or days out for businesses. Running the workshops for like yourself, like your mum. You and your mum are coming along together. People come by themselves. I'm also launching a night class. So in January, basically it's the same workshops that we teach during the day, but for people that can't get here during the day, we're running it as on a Tuesday evening.
So you could do it all on a Tuesday evening?
No, you'd have to come for, depending on the workshop, it depends on which one it is, how complex it is. It's either going to be 2 or 3 nights.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So like a short course that would run from like 9 till 3 would teach over 2 evenings from 6 till 9.
You could do it with wine. Or you're not allowed to do it with wine with staple guns?
No, I'm not being responsible.
Okay, so no wine. Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's really good. I think since we last spoke, I didn't know you were going to do that. That's really good.
I've been working on, and also something that else is in the pipeline that I'm learning is how to do online courses. So people that can't get to us from a location base could potentially get, like you say, where you've got lots of courses that you purchase but not done.
Yeah.
For those people that either can't get to us because of location, or also a lot of clients that have been to us want to carry on learning but don't necessarily want to come to another in-person workshop. It's just something that they can carry on doing and learning skills. So we're developing those as online courses.
So we're making footstools next week. We've chosen our fabric and the type of feet we've got, because I didn't even think that you'd give me a choice of feet, and we've got this amazing choice of feet as well, which is quite exciting. I didn't think I'd be excited over footstool feet, but I am. Are you going to be moving on to things like courses for chairs and things like that then?
Eventually we'll be adding more things, because we developed the course so you learn skills. So each course has got a different design to it. So even though they all look like footstools and benches and storage boxes, they've all got different intricacies to them. So one's deep buttoning, like yours, you're learning a different design of finish on the corner. So it's all skills that you can take on to use in other pieces of furniture. So we will be moving on to more complex pieces, but at the moment we're just focusing on what we've got in terms of I'm not going to run before I can walk.
Yeah, and you don't want other people to run before they can walk either.
So it's just expanding. So where we get a lot of feedback from customers as well in terms of what else they're looking for, because otherwise I'll be developing things that people aren't necessarily wanting to learn. Because when we first started, the first product we did was a storage crate, and I only had one workshop.
Oh, okay.
Whereas now we offer like 6 different courses. We include all the fabric and different options of size of piece of furniture that you can make. So we're giving more choice to people, and not giving them, like you said, you get the choice of fabric, whereas before we just let people bring their own, and it overwhelmed people. They didn't know where to go to buy it and what type to buy and what else to do, whereas now it's almost, you do get to design it before you come, so you get to think, I'd love to do one of those workshops, but where am I going to put a piece of furniture? So you get to think, I've got room for a footstool, I'd like a bench for the end of my bed in my bedroom. I've just thought through as we've developed them, thinking about customers in mind. Most of the time it's having somewhere to put it.
Yeah, I think that's really important as a business as well. It's something that we don't think of when we start the journey that the customer needs to go on. And I definitely think, from my perspective, the process of booking on the course was really easy, and the choosing of the fabrics was really easy. And because it's actually something that is overwhelming to me, making something, it doesn't fit into my norm. And actually, I think any business that starts need to make sure they get that customer journey right, don't they? And you've absolutely nailed it. I think I've not been on the course yet, but I even know I've got to bring a packed lunch. So, you know, you've definitely nailed it. And I suppose that's a good bit of advice for anybody who wants to start their own business as well, as making sure they get their customer journey right.
Yeah, because it's a big thing, because customer service is so important to us. It's the same when we develop, as in making pieces of furniture for customers and clients. We want it to be fit for purpose at the end of use, and it's the same as the piece of furniture you're taking home. I don't want people buying the wrong fabric to then come to a workshop, make a piece of furniture, and then it's not got a stain guard on it, or it's not fire retardant, or all the things that I know because I'm in the industry. They don't know going to a shop and just picking the fabric because it looks pretty. In a year's time, if it's got a dog hair on it or kids spilt something and they can't clean it, it's not fit for use and it's going to look not very good. Whereas your piece of furniture that you come to make, they've done that thinking for you. And a lot of clients have given us that feedback that they just like that we're allowing them to just do the making and enjoy the experience rather than worrying about, do I need to do this and where do I go for that?
There's no barriers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Try to take the pains away and think through what could be stopping them wanting to come and do it. And it's, other than just coming and enjoying the experience, most people have said it's a win-win. Even if they don't like doing upholstery after it, they've still had a lovely day and still got a beautiful piece of furniture, and they might not want to take it past that. Whereas other people come back time and time again because they get the buzz of learning, and they keep on thinking, where can I put something else? And finding homes, or they just gift it onto somebody else because it's so lovely. We've got people coming back this month to make it as a Christmas present for someone. So because people like the thought of handmade, and then making it to gift on for somebody else.
I have to say, I mean, I spent some time looking for a footstool, and the price of actually doing the course is such good value because you go away with the footstool. It's like the price of a footstool. They're so expensive, and the fact that I'm making a footstool and getting that within the day, it's just really, really good value. Really good value. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So anyway, it's been really nice to talk to you, and I'm really looking forward to my course next week and watching you grow and develop and do new things. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. The Xmas decorations will be up next week as well. So
oh, good. Oh, that's very good. Mulled wine?
Hot chocolate.
Okay. Thank you.
Business Insights with Arch Publications, hosted by Katy O'Regan. The Arch Publications Podcast.